I've always been known as a hard-working employee at one of the top engineering firms, the kind of person who's dedicated to getting things done, no matter what. Our office was located in an old building not too far from the heart of the city, but it had its own charm, if you can call it that. Some called it vintage. Others said it was just outdated. I never thought much about it, at least until that one night. It was a Friday, the 13th, but honestly, I wasn't superstitious. It was just another date to me, another day at work. I was pulling another late night, trying to finish some drawings that were due the next morning. Everyone else had already left, and the office was completely deserted by the time 9 p.m. rolled around. The only sounds were the hum of the air conditioning and the occasional click from my mouse as I worked through the details of my design. I kept my head down, focusing on correcting some inconsistencies in the drawings, not even bothering to look at the clock. The next thing I knew, it was already past midnight, 12:01 a.m. to be exact. The office was dead silent, and the only light in the entire floor was coming from my computer screen. It was peaceful in a way, but it was also eerie. As I was working, out of nowhere, I started hearing this strange sound, faint at first, like someone walking in the distance, but the footsteps didn't sound normal. They were sharp, almost like the click of tap shoes. The rhythmic click-clack of heels echoed down the hall. I froze, listening closely. Was someone still here? I brushed it off at first. Maybe it was just the building settling, or maybe I was just tired, hearing things after a long week. But then the footsteps got louder, like they were coming closer. Curiosity got the better of me, so I stepped out of my workstation to check. As soon as I did, the sound stopped. The hallway outside my office was completely empty. No one was there. I took a deep breath, shrugged it off, and went back to my desk. It's nothing, I told myself. Just my mind playing tricks on me. I wasn't going to let a little noise get to me, not when I had so much work left to finish. But a few minutes later, the footsteps returned. This time they were louder, more deliberate. They seemed to echo off the walls, and each step felt like it was getting closer and closer. I sat there, frozen at my desk, listening intently. It was as if someone, or something, was walking toward me, step by step, down the empty hallway. My heart raced, and I could feel the goosebumps rising on my arms. I turned my head slowly toward the door, half expecting to see someone standing there. But when I looked, the hallway was still empty. No one. I didn't know what to think anymore. Was it my exhaustion, or was there actually someone or something lurking in the shadows? At that moment, every instinct in my body screamed at me to leave. The footsteps seemed to be sending a clear message. Go home. I grabbed my bag in a hurry, not even bothering to shut down my computer properly. I bolted out of the office, my footsteps mixing with the sound of my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I ran to the elevator, practically punching the button as I waited for the doors to open. When they finally did, I rushed inside, breathing heavily. The doors closed, and the elevator hummed as it carried me down to the ground floor. As soon as I stepped outside the building, I felt a huge wave of relief wash over me. The cool night air was a welcome change from the suffocating atmosphere inside the office. The next day, I shared my experience with my coworkers over lunch, thinking maybe someone else had stayed late, or it was just my mind playing tricks on me. But as I recounted the story, their reactions made me uneasy. One of my coworkers looked at me with wide eyes and said, "Didn't you know? A few years ago, a guy who worked here died in that very office. He was a workaholic, always staying late, and they say he had these heavy footsteps that you could hear echoing down the halls." Another colleague chimed in, trying to be more logical about it. Or maybe it was just the lady from the accounting department. She said, with a smirk, "You know she's always working late, and she wears stilettos. Maybe that's what you heard." I laughed nervously, unsure of what to believe. Was it the ghost of a former employee? Or just someone working late like me, whose footsteps echoed a little too loudly? To this day, I still don't know. But one thing's for sure. I never stayed late in that office again. After all, some things are better left unexplained.